Introduction. Language is a fingerprint. Manipulators can fake warmth, fake credentials, fake entire personalities, but they struggle to fake language. Speech patterns are habits, and habits leak. A person who routinely bends others to their will has spent years polishing certain verbal tools, and those tools appear early, often within the first few minutes of a conversation, because probing you for weaknesses is the first thing on their agenda. This is very good news. It means you do not need weeks of painful experience to identify a manipulative person. You need a trained ear. In this article we will break down 10 phrases that function like fingerprints at a crime scene. Each one will be examined the same way: what it sounds like, what it is actually doing, why ordinary honest people almost never say it, and how to respond in a way that quietly signals, wrong target. One caution before we begin. A single phrase proves nothing. Decent people occasionally say clumsy things. What you are listening for is clusters and repetition. One of these phrases is a data point. 3 of them in 5 minutes is a pattern. A pattern is a warning. Phrase 1, "You're not like everyone else." It arrives as a compliment, and it feels wonderful. That is the trap. This phrase does 2 jobs at once. First, it flatters you into a special category. Second, and this is the important part, it quietly installs an obligation: special people behave specially. Once you have accepted the crown, the requests begin, and refusing them would mean losing your special status. Honest people give specific compliments. You explained that really clearly. Manipulators give identity compliments, because identities can be leveraged. The disarm is simple: accept the words, reject the crown. That's kind of you. I'm pretty ordinary, actually. Watch their reaction. Genuine people smile. Manipulators look briefly annoyed, because the hook came back empty. Phrase 2, "I've never told anyone this before." Rapid, premature intimacy is a tool, not a gift. Sharing a secret in the first minutes of acquaintance creates a counterfeit bond. You now feel chosen, trusted, and, crucially, obligated to reciprocate with your own disclosures. Real trust is slow because it is built on evidence. Instant trust is a transaction where you are the only one actually paying. Their secret is usually rehearsed, recycled, and told to everyone. The disarm: receive it politely and do not reciprocate. Thank you for sharing that. Full stop. A genuine person is fine with that. A manipulator will push: and what about you? You seem like you're carrying something too, because your secrets are the merchandise they came for. Phrase 3, "Everyone always lets me down." Listen closely to how a new acquaintance describes their past. This phrase, and its cousins, "all my exes were crazy," and "people always betray me eventually," is a confession disguised as a complaint. It tells you 2 things. First, this person takes zero ownership. In every story spanning decades and dozens of people, they are always the innocent party. The one common factor in all their disasters is somehow never examined. Second, it is an audition invitation. You are being offered the role of the one who's finally different, a role whose job description is endless proving and endless guilt when you inevitably fail, like everyone before you. The disarm: a neutral, curious question. That's rough. What do you think all those situations had in common? Honest people can reflect. Manipulators deflect instantly, because introspection is not in the toolkit. Phrase 4, "I'm just being honest." Almost always deployed immediately after a cruelty. The insult lands, you flinch, and here comes the flag of virtue: brutal honesty. Notice the asymmetry, though. Their honesty only ever travels downhill, toward things that diminish you. Somehow this fearless truth-teller is never honest about their own flaws, and reacts to any honesty aimed back at them as an unforgivable attack. Honesty and cruelty are separable. Kind people separate them daily. "I'm just being honest" is not a description of truthfulness. It is a demand for immunity. The disarm: honesty and rudeness aren't the same thing. You can tell me the truth without the sting. Try again. You are not rejecting truth, you are rejecting the license. Phrase 5, you're too sensitive. The first drop of gaslighting, and it usually appears the very first time you object to something. You name a discomfort, a joke at your expense, an overstepped boundary, and instead of addressing the behavior, they diagnose your reaction. The message underneath, your perceptions are defective, so the problem is never what I do, it is what you feel. Why it matters so early, this phrase is a probe. If you back down, maybe I am overreacting, you have just told them your reality is negotiable. Every future violation will be processed the same way. The disarm is to keep the subject on the behavior, my sensitivity is calibrated fine. Let's stay on what you said. You do not need to prove your feelings in court. You need to refuse the change of venue. Phrase 6, after everything I've done for you. Sometimes it arrives absurdly early, after one small favor you never requested. That speed is the tell. Manipulators run relationships as ledgers, every gift, ride, and compliment is an entry, and this phrase is the invoice. The genius of the scheme is that you never agreed to the debt. Unsolicited favors were deposited into your account specifically so they could be withdrawn later at interest. Honest generosity has a signature, it forgets itself. People who give freely genuinely do not keep score, and are embarrassed if you try to repay them. The disarm, gently close the ledger. I appreciate what you did, and I didn't realize it came with terms. Next time, tell me the price up front and I'll decide if I want the deal. Expect indignation. Indignation is the sound of an invoice being voided. Phrase 7, don't tell anyone about this. Secrecy requests, especially early and especially about trivial things, are perimeter fencing. Manipulation is a low-light operation, it depends on you not comparing notes with others, because others, with no fog in their eyes, would spot the pattern in minutes. So the manipulator begins isolating the channel immediately, this is just between us, people wouldn't understand, your friends will judge. There are legitimate confidences in life, of course. The red flag is when secrecy is the default and the justifications are vague. The disarm, I don't keep categories of secrets from the people close to me, if that's a problem, tell me now. Watch how much this simple sentence disturbs them. Honest people shrug. Operators recalculate. Phrase 8, I need an answer right now. Urgency in the first 5 minutes, a deal, an opportunity, a favor, a commitment that must be locked in immediately, is nearly always synthetic. Time is the enemy of manipulation. Given a night to sleep, you might think, consult someone, notice inconsistencies. So the window is slammed shut, now or never. Internalize one rule and it will save you money, jobs, and relationships. Legitimate opportunities survive scrutiny, manufactured ones cannot afford it. The disarm is a single calm sentence, if it can't wait until tomorrow, my answer today is no. Delivered pleasantly, this phrase is a manipulator repellent of extraordinary purity. The pushy ones evaporate. Anyone who remains was probably real. Phrase 9, I was only joking, where's your sense of humor? The jab and retreat. First comes a genuinely demeaning remark, about your weight, your salary, your competence, delivered with a smile. If you laugh along, a boundary just moved and everyone saw it. If you object, out comes the escape hatch, it was a joke, and now you have a defect, no sense of humor. Heads they win, tails you lose. This is a testing tactic, and it is diagnostic precisely because it appears so early, they are measuring how much disrespect you will absorb to stay pleasant. The disarm ignores the humor question entirely, funny or not, don't say that to me again. No anger, no debate, no smile. Delivered flatly, this sentence ends the test with a failing grade, for them. Phrase 10, you'd do it if you really cared. The purest distillation of manipulation in the language, an if-then statement welding your love, loyalty, or professionalism to their specific demand. If you really loved me. If you were really a team player. If family really mattered to you. The structure takes something true and precious, you do care, and holds it hostage to something arbitrary, their current want. The reason it works on good people is that good people accept the premise and start proving they're caring. The disarm is to reject the weld, not the love, I do care. And I'm still saying no. Those two things live together just fine. Say it warmly. Nothing frustrates an emotional hostage taker more than a hostage who declines the exchange while smiling. Bonus, training your ear in 7 days. Knowing the phrases and hearing them live are different skills, so here is a 1-week drill. Days 1 and 2, passive listening. Watch interviews, reality shows, or debate clips and simply count the 10 phrases when they appear, no analysis, just recognition. You will be shocked how common they are once your filter is on. Days 3 and 4, retrospective review. Replay, in memory or in message history, your last 3 uncomfortable interactions. Highlight every phrase from this list. Most people find at least 4, and often discover that one particular phrase has been used on them for years by one particular person. Days 5 and 6, rehearse the disarms out loud. Not in the mirror as theater, just say each response 10 times while driving or washing dishes, until the words live in your mouth instead of your notes. Under social pressure, you will only ever say what you have already practiced. Day 7, 1 live repetition. Pick the lowest stakes opportunity that appears, a pushy salesperson is perfect, and deliver 1 disarm, calmly, in the wild. That single rep converts the whole article from information into equipment. Conclusion, 3 strikes and the quiet exit. 10 phrases, the identity compliment, the instant secret, the universal victim story, the honesty license, the sensitivity diagnosis, the surprise invoice, the secrecy fence, the synthetic deadline, the joke escape hatch, and the caring hostage trade. 10 probes, each asking the same underlying question, how much of your reality, time, and self-respect are you willing to hand over to stay comfortable? Remember the rule of clusters. Any one phrase can come from an awkward, well-meaning mouth. But these tools travel in sets, because they belong to a single trade. When you hear 3 within minutes, you are not being oversensitive or cynical, you are reading fluent manipulation, and reading it is now a skill you own. And here is the quiet, freeing part, you rarely need confrontation. You do not have to announce the diagnosis or win an argument. Simply respond with the disarms, decline the crown, keep your secrets, question the pattern, refuse the deadline, and watch what happens. Manipulators are economists. They profile targets by return on effort, and every calm boundary you set raises your price beyond what they are willing to pay. The predator does not fight the porcupine. He just moves along, looking for softer things, while you go on with your evening, 5 minutes in, having lost absolutely nothing.